With us this afternoon to give remarks in his 22nd year as Director of Athletics at Wayne State University, Mr. Rob Fournier. Rob?
Thanks, Jason. Also, before I start, I want to give a shout out there to Dr. Turner, who helped put all this together, done a fabulous job. If you watch her, she's always following me around during these events because I'm not really sure what I'm doing, so she keeps me on track. So, Candace, thank you. And also Lauren and Jason and Gerald, they've done a great job in putting this together. My good friend Keith Williams said to me, he goes, I like this venue a lot better. He said, why didn't we just do this here every year? And I said, well, Keith, we used to play basketball games in here. And he's like, oh, yeah, I remember now. So, where have you been? I'm waiting 2 years for this. We've been through a lot the last 2 years as an athletic department. I'm sure each of you seen out here will acknowledge. The interesting thing about athletics during the whole pandemic, we kept competing. When the rest of the university shut down and went virtual, we were still going live over here. We practiced in masks. We tested ourselves 6 times a week. And that's that little finger thing that you do. No, ask those guys that were doing that antigen test early in the morning before they could go to practice. We canceled our first football season since there was a war in Europe, the one in the 40s. We moved our volleyball and our cross-country teams to the winter and the spring. We won a basketball championship right on this court without any fans. And when the university said, well, you got to be vaccinated in order to keep competing, 97% of our student athletes got vaccinated. So we feel the pain that you all felt. But I think there's a good lesson in there, and I think it's reflected in the student athletes we're inducting today. Student athletes are just wired differently. You give them a challenge, and they'll meet that challenge. And thanks to the president, who understood that, athletics was given an opportunity to continue while the rest of the campus was shut down. I've been waiting 2 years now to introduce this class, and I'm glad we've had this opportunity today. I'm going to go through and just make some brief remarks about each of them, as I normally do, so you can get to know a little bit more about them other than a statistical presence. First, Shareta Brown, women's basketball. People are always saying to me, well, how do you get into the Hall of Fame? When you are the country's basketball player of the year, you pretty much got a lock on it. But as dominating as those statistics were, she even appeared more so to her opponents. And they should have saw it coming, because Shareta only played for us 2 years. But think about these career marks that she established in just those 2 seasons. She has the record at that particular time when she retired of a scoring average of 21.1 points per game and a rebounding average of 13 per game. Her field goal percentage there's going to be a lot of clapping if I go through every stat that she has. She had a career record of 769 rebounds, and her field goal shooting percentage was 63.9. EJ, we could use that today. But there was a resume for Shareta before he got here. She had been the Horizon League Freshman of the Year. That's Division I. So people kind of knew what to expect, but then I've seen a lot of people transfer that just didn't live up to expectations. And in that first year, she set records in some of the areas that you never see a person lead a conference in. She was first in steals at 74, offensive rebounds at 133, and she led the conference in field goal percentage at 62.9, one below what she ended her career at. And as a result of that, she became the first female women's basketball player in the history of Wayne State to be a first-team All-American. Now, the interesting thing about that is a lot of people would just say, hey, this isn't that rough. I'm just going to kind of take it easy. I can pretty much glide through that senior season. But that's not Shareta. When Coach Laura approached her and says, you know, you could be even better, Shareta didn't hesitate. She worked. She worked to get even more dominant. She gives credit to Bryce Karazak, then the women's strength and conditioning coach. And they worked, and they worked, and they worked. And she told me the interesting thing about Wayne State, they don't give you anything other than if you want an extra dessert today. She said, they made me work to get better. She says, you know where they do that time where you have to run the mile in a certain time? And if you're real good, that stopwatch becomes really, really slow, and they start counting the seconds off as if I was running it? She said, no, none of that. Everybody was held to the same standard. And you know what? That says a lot about her character. That senior season, she set records for points, 639, free throws, because they thought, what the hell, we'll just foul her. And she made 177 of those, and in rebounds, 427 in a season. And how did that result for the team? Well, this could only happen in a GLIAC. The one season we won the North Division Championship, and the next season we won the South Division Championship. We also won a conference title in 2012-2013 and made 2 trips to the NCAA tournament, advancing the farthest we'd ever gone to the Sweet 16. But there's an interesting story about Shareta that I think is more illuminating than those statistics. One day after a basketball game on a Saturday afternoon, I was walking down the hallway when we had the double hitters going, and Shareta just had her normal game, 100 points, 150 rebounds, I don't know what it was. And I said to her, I says, hey, congratulations, great game. And we're doing a little small talk. And I said, what are you doing tonight? It's a Saturday. She says, I'm going to the library. Now, people tell me stuff all the time. I mean, you should be one in the staff meetings. Well, anyway, I was like, you're going to the library? And she's like, yeah. She says, I'm going to get invited to that academic luncheon. Now, the academic luncheon takes place in the spring, and you got to have a 3.5 or better to get invited. When I first suggested that we do an academic luncheon, our academic advisor at the time told me, Rob, if you expect student athletes to get a 3.5, you'll be having a lunch at a table like that. I was like, nah. I like student athletes because they'll strive for a goal. Well, a few months later, it's Friday night in my office. There's a knock at the door, and it's Shareta. She comes in, she says, I got something to show you. I was like, what's that? She hands me a piece of paper. It was her grades for the fall semester. Perfect 4-point. She said, you better tell those deans I'm coming over. And she said, and make sure they have that shrimp ready. Yeah, we don't serve shrimp. But anyway, I think it's kind of fitting that we have the Hall of Fame in here because, well, for Shareta, this is kind of a comfort zone. You always found her around the basket. But you know what? If I pulled those deans today, they would say there's a more appropriate place for her to be. And that's in that Hall of Fame, which is where we're going to induct her. Shareta, stand up. Be recognized.
Rob, thank you for sharing those memories with us. Now let us meet the Hall of Fame class of 2021. I will read briefly from each citation. Shareta Brown. Shareta Brown, a two-year basketball letter winner, 2013 to 2015, the native of Pontiac, Michigan, ended her career first in scoring average, rebounds, field goal percentage, rebounding average, etc., etc., etc. Why she was Wayne State's first consensus National Player of the Year in 2014-2015. She was GLIAC Player of the Year, becoming just the second women's basketball player to receive that honor, joining Lori Janiskevich, Hall of Fame class of 1997. As a junior, she was Daktronics first team she was All-American first team, becoming the first WSU women's basketball player to be named as such, and the school's first person to score 600 points in a season. The 2014-2015 WSU Female Student Athlete of the Year, she earned her bachelor's degree in criminal justice. She was on the academic honor roll twice, and most recently started her Master's of Arts degree while serving as a graduate assistant with our women's basketball program. Because of that time in the Club Rary. Rob, it is my honor to present Shareta Brown for induction into the Wayne State University Athletic Hall of Fame.
Y'all gotta bear with me today. Speeches are not my thing, but I'm gonna get it done. All right, so I wrote everything out, so just bear with me, and here we go. All right, so growing up, I pretty much played every sport. Basketball, baseball, soccer, softball, you name it. Just like any other kid, you're just out there playing to play, having fun. As I got older, I started to realize that basketball was the sport that I would play. I watched a lot of basketball. Kobe was definitely my idol, one of the main reasons for me rocking number 24. As time went on, I started to see how great I was at basketball. I started to play AAU, which is a travel summer league. I initially started out with the Pontiac Bears. After playing with them, I joined the Tri-County Cobras. Now, when we came in the gym, you knew exactly who we were. We were dressed in all black from head to toe and lined up from smallest to biggest, and there I was in the back holding the squad down. One tournament, we played this team called the Michigan Fire, ran by Coach McAllister. Hands down, it was a great game, but of course my team came out on top. Afterwards, McAllister became highly interested in me, really wanted me to play on this team. Somehow, not only was he the AAU coach, but also a police officer that worked in my high school, which was Pontiac Northern. When he realized that I went there, for some reason he thought this was his chance to recruit me to play for him. The first time he asked me, I said no. So after avoiding him a few times in the hallways, I finally agreed to play one weekend, not knowing that one weekend would change my life drastically. I was then introduced to his daughter, Destiny, and at the time, girlfriend, Michelle, a.k.a. Big Shelly. I instantly got close to them, and they became my second family. At the time, my high school was transitioning to one school, which was going to be called Pontiac High, and I didn't want to attend there the next year. Somehow, the idea of me moving in with McAllister and his family became a topic. At first, I kind of thought nothing of it, but they were totally serious. Me and my mom talked it over, and we agreed that it would be a great move for me. I then packed my stuff up, and I moved to Grand Blanc, and I attended Grand Blanc High School the next year. It was never easy leaving home and being away from my family, but it was one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. Prior to meeting them, I had no college offers. Then I was in the 9th grade, but by the time I got to my senior year, that was a different story. When I moved in with McAllister and the fam, we instantly got to work. It's kind of like I was on a business trip. During the week, I was in Grand Blanc working out 24/7, going to practice, going to trainers, going to practice again. Like the grind was nonstop. And on the weekends, I went home. That move to Grand Blanc allowed me to grow as a person as well as a basketball player. I had all the right resources around me to help me grow. Started going to personal trainers, had unlimited access to the gym, even unlimited access to the coach. Like I was totally in the right place. Thank you, Coach McAllister, for bugging me to play that one weekend. It opened up so many doors for me to be such a successful player. Also, thank you, McAllister, for always believing in me and taking a risk on me. Thank you for showing me what it really takes to make it to the next level. Your grind and hard work taught me a lot. Michelle, thank you for teaching me what it takes to be such a successful person, just not with basketball, but keeping my head in the books and never letting me give up on myself. Thank you for the times that you chastised me when no one else wanted to do it. Thank you for pushing me in the classroom and making me understand the importance of being a student first, then sports. Destiny, thank you for being that sister that I really never had growing up. Thank you for allowing your parents to bring me into your family and treat me like just one of theirs. Also, thank you for being a great teammate and always having my back. I would also like to thank my mom. Thank you for showing me what it takes to be a strong, independent woman. Thank you for always pushing me and believing in me. Thank you for all the times you've been backwards for me to attend AU tournaments. Thank you for showing me how to always push through no matter what I'm going through. And lastly, thank you for being you, my biggest supporter. To my friends and family, thank you for coming to all my games and being the loudest in the stands, buying t-shirts with my face all over it, and just simply supporting me and being there for me. I would also like to thank all my teammates during my career who motivated me and pushed me to do great. I also like to thank Coach Lohr. Thank you, Coach, for setting high standards for me since day one and not taking nothing less. Thank you for being hard on me and making me work hard. Coach LaFada, thank you for being the academic police and keeping me focused in the classroom, always encouraged me to be great. WSU, thank you for allowing me to put on that green and gold to represent the university. I am very blessed and honored to receive this award. Thank you.
It's my pleasure to introduce you to the Hall of Fame class of 2021. Have a seat when y'all get a chance.
One side on our own, the other one.
You can take a picture of that there, so I'll put this back in. Take a picture of that there. So
Okay. Yeah, we're good. Excuse me.
You want to step on over, step on over.
Brad, stand back up.
It's pictures. Thank